As a life insurance agent, one of the most difficult aspects of my job is balancing empathy with the cold, hard truths of risk assessment. Let me make one thing clear. I'm no body shamer. Everyone deserves respect and dignity, and weight discrimination is real, especially in fields like transportation and employment. But I also don't believe it's productive to promote unhealthy lifestyles. Here's the issue. Especially like public figures like actors, rappers, athletes, and politicians are often in the spotlight because of their talent, accomplishments, or influence. Their work tends to extend beyond themselves and shape the culture. Yet, in the former Biden era push for inclusivity, we're seeing a trend where spectacle often replaces substance. Take Big Scarlett, for example. She shook audiences with a performance featuring a twerking woman with a visible period blood stain. It's a moment crafted to provoke, not inspire. Then there's Dave Blunt's, who performed on stage while strapped to an oxygen tank, turning what could have been an inspiring act of perseverance into a stunt designed for shock value. These aren't isolated incidents either. They're a broader trend, with figures like Lil Nas X and Lizzo pushing the boundaries for attention rather than seeking artistic expression. And while I express their boldness and their individuality, I can't help but question, are we celebrating the true cultural contributions, or are we just rewarding controversy? As someone who works in final expense, health, and mortality every day, I see these trends through a different lens. In my industry, we deal with the hard realities of life expectancy, health risks, and mortality every day. When it comes to insurance, there's a clear link between weight, health, and longevity. In fact, the people who deviate significantly from standard height and weight charts are often considered uninsurable. Or if they are insured, they face astronomical premiums. Why is that? Because obesity is statistically tied to a greater risk of chronic health issues like diabetes, heart disease, and mortality challenges. And the reality is, if someone can't reliably move from point A to B or struggles with basic self-care, the industry may classify them as disabled, which results in higher premiums or denial of coverage altogether. Now, I understand that weight is a deeply personal issue, shaped by everything from genetics to socioeconomic factors. But the industry isn't about nuance. It's driven by actuarial data. Numbers don't account for personal struggles or social discrimination. They only measure risk. That doesn't mean the system is perfect. In fact, there's an urgent need to reimagine how we approach risk without disproportionately punishing individual factors outside of their control, all while keeping the industry financially stable. But cases like these underscore the ongoing tension in my field. How to assess risk without losing sight of the humanity behind the numbers. I'm no legal expert, but as a bail bondsman, I can tell you there's a definite right to refuse service. If this Lyft driver could have provided a different vehicle, and which he did, or if Lyft had communicated that a specific type of ride was needed for his size, which they did, then this lawsuit is likely going nowhere. It's like being too big for a roller coaster. That's not discrimination. That's the ride isn't simply designed for women that sized. But here's the sad part. At the end of the day, this woman, by the way, whom I still don't even know by name, has become famous not for anything that she's accomplished or created, but for being too big to get into a Toyota Camry and for rapping. She's just another spectacle in a culture that increasingly rewards controversy over substance. So, where does that leave us? We're at a crossroads where spectacle has started to overshadow real contribution. We're celebrating moments that shock rather than those that inspire or elevate the culture. And for all the inclusivity we've gained, it's important to ask, are we celebrating the right things? Her name was Dank Demoss, and I sorely hope that she loses her lawsuit against Lyft.